Hey, it's Rich here. In this video, I'm going to tell you about my experience with the Honda Product Advisory for the air conditioning in Honda CR-Vs and Honda Civics, and let me tell you, it was not a fun experience. So if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I take a lot of road trips in my 2017 Honda CR-V. Sometimes I just go on weekend road trips, but other times I'll drive all the way across the country. And I've made a number of videos about how I have a bed in the back of my car. And when I'm on these road trips, I typically sleep in my car at truck stops, at Cracker Barrels, and places like that. That way I don't need to get a hotel just for 7 or 8 hours on the road, and it saves me a ton of money. Anyway, I was out on the road back in May and June a few months ago. I was out for about a 5-week road trip. And about a week into the trip, I started noticing that my air conditioning just wasn't getting all that cold. It was kind of cool, but not as cold as it used to be. So like I say, that was about a week into my trip, and I ended up being in Florida for a few weeks. And I was trying to figure out what to do, so I thought, well, I mean, this does happen to car air conditioners. Sometimes they just need to be recharged with the refrigerant. And so I found a Honda dealer in Florida, and I made an appointment. When I was online looking for a Honda dealer, I also started searching for issues online about this. My car is a 2017, so yeah, it is 6 years old now, but I've had other cars where I've never had any problem with the air conditioning. So I was Googling and searching to see if maybe there was some issue with Honda CR-Vs and the air conditioning. And sure enough, I came across some postings where there was just a number of people complaining about this. I mean, it was kind of funny. I mean, they all described the same thing that was happening to my car. I mean, that it was just not as cold anymore. And also a number of them said that their cars were over 3 years old. Of course, the warranty is 3 years. And these people were complaining, saying that they took it in to get the air conditioning, just what they thought would just be recharged. And it ended up being all these problems that some people were saying they had to pay like $1,000 or $1,500 to get like major parts replaced for this problem, and that it wasn't covered under warranty. As I searched more and more for this, I realized that a lot of people were saying that the problem was related to new regulations that required a different type of refrigerant to be in these cars, starting at about like 2017 or so. There was a number of postings where people were saying, yeah, that Honda was required to use this new refrigerant and it was causing leaks in the air conditioning system, and people took it in, and it just required a lot of replacement of parts and so forth that was costing, like I said, $1,000 to $1,500. And several people I came across were posting this, and they were really angry because their cars were older than 3 years, and none of this was covered under warranty, and they had to pay for this. So I was trying to figure out what to do because, like I said, I had made an appointment with a dealer to take it in, but the more I thought about it, I was on the road. I live in California, and here I was in Florida, and I just thought, man, if it's some big problem that's going to require a lot of money, then I'm not sure I want to do that while I'm on the road, because in case I would have to take it back, maybe, they tried to fix it and it didn't quite fix it, and if I pay that much money, I want to be able to take it back and say, hey, it still doesn't work. I mean, I've had that happen. If it was just, recharging the refrigerant or Freon, whatever it is, and that wouldn't be that big a deal. But if it's going to be something major, then I'd rather be back home where I can just go to the dealer I normally go to and take it back if there's a problem. So I canceled the appointment in Florida, and I just thought I'm going to try to get back to California with the air conditioning that I have. And luckily, this was in May and the first part of June, and that was right before the big heat wave in the whole country started. And I actually took the northern or a somewhat northern route and then stopped in Moab, Utah for a day. I made a video about that. I went mountain biking in Moab, and man, I just hit a perfect day in Moab. So yeah, I managed to get all the way back to California kind of with half working air conditioning, and it was never really a problem because like I said, I just got back before all the really hot weather started. So after I got home, like I said, it was mid-June, and I was home for maybe a week. And then one day I checked my mail and I got the Honda product advisory. And I stood there in my mailbox, and before I even opened it, I was thinking, man, wouldn't this be great if this was, telling me there was a problem with the air conditioning? I kind of had a feeling it was because, like I said, the research I had done, I mean, a lot of people were complaining about this. And sure enough, I opened it up, and yeah, that's exactly what it was about. And this is where I'm going to really get into my story here. So it's important to realize about this product advisory, and this is kind of where sort of my beware heads up develops with this thing. It's a warranty extension. When I went to the dealer, when I started calling dealers, they told me this is a warranty extension. It's not a recall. And then not only that, it's a warranty extension just on the air conditioning compressor shaft seal. That's all. And so that's what's important to keep in mind. It's a warranty extension of just the air conditioning compressor shaft seal, and it extends the warranty from the original 3 years to 10 years, but just on the air conditioning compressor shaft seal. By the way, the letter confirmed what I had found out in my research, that, yeah, it's a regulation that introduced a new refrigerant, an oil requirement, that's causing the compressor shaft seal to leak. And they tell you that you don't need to do anything. If you're not having any problem, then there's no problem. You see, it's not a recall. It's only if you have a problem with your air conditioning, then you can take it in and get that compressor shaft seal fixed for free within 10 years. So I was actually really happy to see this because I was having problems. So this was really great news because now I had this warranty extension. And so what I did was I called the dealer, the Honda dealer where I live that I normally go to, and I explained the situation. I said, yeah, I just got this Honda warranty extension for the air conditioning, and I actually just started having a problem like a month earlier. And so I said, yeah, I want to bring it in and get this fixed. Well, I mean, right away, she said, first we have to test it, and then if that's the problem, then yeah, we'll fix it under the warranty extension, the compressor shaft seal leak. And I just thought that was odd, the way, kind of right out of the gate, the way she explained it. She made it clear that they've got to test it, and then if that's the problem, they'll fix it. And it was just odd. It was just like, hey, to me it was like, hey, I got a problem, and this is talking about what sounds like the same exact problem I have. And so I made an appointment with them, but then I thought, you know what, I'm going to call another dealer just to see what they say, because something didn't quite sound right to me with that dealer. So I called another dealer, and it was a similar thing. They said, well, first we have to test it to see what the problem is. And then if it's the shaft seal leak, then yeah, we'll fix it under the warranty extension. But if it's not the shaft seal leak, well, then you have to pay a $195 diagnostic fee. But if whatever needs to be fixed, if you have us fix it, then you can apply the $195 diagnostic fee to that fix. And I'm just like, what? I mean, I got this letter, and this is the second place. It's just like telling me that like they've got to test it, and it's sort of like implying, well, that may not be the problem. And at that place, they were even going to charge me a fee if it's not the compressor shaft seal, and if it's something else, and I guess if I decided not to have them fix it, they're going to charge me $195 for that. So I was like, wow, something fishy is just going on here. So I decided to call yet a third Honda dealer. And that was better. They didn't really talk much about testing it and all that. They just said, well, yeah, you can bring it in. But they didn't have any appointments for like over 2 weeks. The first two dealers, they could get me in like, within a day or two. And so I decided to go to the first dealer I talked to, since they could take me right away. And at least they didn't say anything about charging me a diagnostic fee. So I got to my appointment. I actually had an 8 a.m. appointment because the service advisor, when I talked to her on the phone, she had said, you'll probably have to leave the car overnight. But she said, well, if you get here early enough in the day, we can maybe finish it in one day. But it will take the whole day to do the testing of it and then the repairs. They did give me a free lift ride to wherever I wanted to go. I just went back home. I think they gave a free lift ride within like a 10-mile radius. So I dropped off the car and then I just went home and waited on the car at home. I guess around noon that day, I got a text message from the service advisor, and the text message says, I have an update on your vehicle. The AC discharge hose and AC shaft seals are leaking Freon. We would have to replace both the discharge hose and shaft seals. To replace the discharge hose, it would be $574.21, and we would replace the AC shaft seals under the warranty extension. Let me know if you want to proceed with the repairs. I was just kind of floored. I was thinking that, I got this letter, the warranty extension, and everything was going to be great. I would just take it in, and the problem would be the problem, the shaft seals, and that would be that, and I could get it fixed for free. And that's when it dawned on me that, like I said, when I was calling the dealers, something just didn't quite seem right. And then the letter itself for the warranty extension just talks about this compressor shaft seal that may leak. And that's why I said earlier, it's important to know, and that's when I found out that this warranty extension is only for the compressor shaft seal. And so sure enough, they're telling me that it's both my AC discharge hose and the AC shaft seal, two things. And to do the discharge hose is going to be $574. And I was just kind of floored. One, I was just kind of disappointed that it was two things and I have to pay for one. And then the other, I was just like, holy cow, $574 for the discharge hose. So I was at home, and before I replied to her, I did some research. I mean, the $574 sounded high to me for, a discharge hose. Now, I did learn researching this. I mean, the discharge hose, all this stuff with the air conditioner, it's under high pressure, and you got to know what you're doing to replace these things. I mean, you have to release the pressure and then replace everything and then put it back under pressure to make sure it doesn't leak, and then you recharge it with the refrigerant. So it is a big job. But even so, the $574 just seemed a little high. So what I did was I replied to my service advisor and I said, why don't we do this? I said, just only replace the AC shaft seals under the warranty extension. And I said, the price for the discharge hose just seems kind of high to me. So I'm going to shop around for that. So what I'd like the dealer to do that day would just do the shaft seals for the warranty extension, basically no cost. She called me back and she's like, that's fine. She could do that. Just replace only the shaft seal under the warranty. However, if I decide to do only that, then they will not charge the system with the refrigerant. They won't put any refrigerant in because she said actually that their machine would not let them put the refrigerant in because my hose is leaking. And so I'm like, when I took the car to her, I had a little bit of cooling going on. It was sort of working, like halfway cool, but now she's telling me that when they give it back to me, if I only do the shaft seal, they're not going to put any refrigerant in it. And she said, yeah, it'll just blow hot air. And she said, that's fine, we'll do whatever you want, but we can't put the refrigerant back in. I mean, I kind of saw the point that they can't charge it, although I was just thinking that it can't be leaking that much. None of it can be leaking that much because it was cooling a little bit, and I thought, gosh, if you charge it up, I mean, what's the big deal? So it'll probably a very slow leak. She was just like, no, she can't do it. So I didn't argue too much about it, but I'm just like, look, can you give me a deal at all? I mean, is there a better price than $574? I mean, that just seems high to me. I mean, can you give me any kind of discount on that price? And she actually did. She came down 15% on the price almost right away when I asked. So that was nice of her to do. And I told her I really appreciated that. And that brought the price down $83, 15% off. So with that, I just said, well, go ahead and do it. Fix it all. I just wanted to get it completely done because I could see a problem where if I get only part of it fixed with them and I try to take it somewhere else to get the other part, I don't know. I just thought it's going to be almost as much money anyway, probably close. So yeah, I said, go ahead and do it. But then she said, well, it's already too late in the day. We can't get it done that day. So you will have to leave it overnight. And I'm just like, fine, that's fine. So the next day I got my Lyft ride and I went and picked up the car, and the grand total price turned out to be $480.96. Of course, that was for the AC discharge hose. And then they did fix the compressor shaft seal leaking under the warranty extension, and there was no charge for that. It does seem to be working great. It's cold again, and so far so good. It was definitely a noticeable difference that the air conditioning would just get a lot colder now. So it does seem like they fixed it. But I guess my sort of heads up on all this to other people: be ready for this and understand that this warranty extension strictly covers the compressor shaft seal and not any other hoses or anything else. And I think there's even other things that they may find are leaking. The service advisor sort of implied the first time I talked to her that it could be several other things. The feeling I get from this is that it is this new refrigerant that I guess caused the compressor shaft seal to leak. And my sense, it's just a guess, maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of think that it probably causes the hose to leak as well. I mean, I've had several cars and I've never had any problem. Didn't even need to ever charge the air conditioning, let alone replace a hose. And this car, it's a 2017 Honda CR-V, is only 6 years old. That just seems not old enough to have to replace a hose. So I think it is this new refrigerant that's just causing a lot of stuff to leak. That's my guess, the shaft seal and the hose. But I guess Honda is not going to cover something like a hose. They're not going to extend the warranty for a hose. I kind of think that's something, that can fail a lot easier. And my guess, and it's just a guess, is that Honda just said, okay, well, this new refrigerant's causing probably several things to leak. We'll cover the shaft seal. That's more of a solid hardware type item versus a hose is something that they probably think, well, that could fail for a number of reasons, including the new refrigerant, but we're not going to cover that. So that's sort of my heads up to people out there that if they are having this problem, it may very well be a couple of things are leaking. And this warranty extension, apparently, in my experience, is only going to cover the compressor shaft seal, and so you may still have to spend some money to get this fixed. So anyway, that's my experience with the Honda product advisory for the air conditioning that I'm sure a lot of people out there received in the mail. By the way, I don't think I mentioned yet in the video that it applies to 2017 to 2022 CR-Vs and also 2016 to 2021 Honda Civics. Like I said, mine's a 2017 CR-V, so I have, one of the oldest cars. And I just started noticing the problem, like I said, this year, literally a month before I got this product advisory. Many people out there with the newer cars probably aren't noticing a problem yet, but they may very well eventually have a problem. Anyway, that wraps it up for this video. If you found it helpful or enjoyed it, please press the like button. And if you like this type of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'd really appreciate that. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.